Great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, coming to you on a snowy Monday here. We have avoided the snow most of the year so far here in British Columbia, Vancouver, but we got hit over the weekend and it didn't go away. And then we got a lot more flakes today. Not fun at all. Most of the country has been underneath a blanket of snow, but we've been lucky we can getting away with it, but not over the last few days. I guess it wasn't a welcome sight for you either today, Jason, was it?
No, it sucked. Well, at least the good thing was where I'm like, okay, it can snow, but it can't stay. And so it didn't stick. So that was at least my one saving grace. But at the same time, I had to work outside this morning. That was not fun. It was cold. It's cold.
That's no good. Yeah, it has been getting pretty cold too, and that's one of the reasons why it's stuck on the grass. It wasn't stuck on the road. Luckily, we got away with that. It's just horrible around here when it sticks on the road and gets icy, and then the traffic just gets insane around here.
Yeah. The traffic is insane, and people panic, and all of a sudden people can't drive. Like, it's almost like I'm a rookie and I've never done this before. No, man, you've seen snow before. You just have to take your time. It's almost as if people decide, I'm going to go Indy 500 in this. It's going to be fine. I can't see anything bad happening. Yeah, everything bad will happen.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah, slow down. Definitely. Yeah. Slow down and avoid hills is my biggest advice for sure.
No. Oh yeah, definitely avoid the hills because you're not getting up it. You're not gonna make it.
Yeah. Did you get up to much on the weekend?
Visited with a friend Friday night. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so yeah, I took it easy. Watched some sports here and there, but I basically kicked my feet up and I did not do much.
Well, I finished my house sitting week and everything went well. The animals are still living. I was a little concerned for a few days there. I thought, oh man, imagine if they die on me, and everybody would be really sad and really angry with me. But the animals are alive. The house is standing, and I made it out. So thumbs up for everything. Good weekend. Lots of sports. After the NFL, I start thinking, oh man, it's gonna get pretty bleak and pretty quiet on the weekends. But baseball spring training has kicked in. Tons of amazing basketball this weekend. UFC card. We had the Jake Paul fight. We had a ton of stuff to get into. So let's get into it. NBA. I got breaking news. I don't think you've heard because it just happened about 20 minutes ago. Lamelo Ball broke his ankle tonight in the Hornets' 5th straight win over Detroit. He was trying to do a behind the back dribble and suddenly he fell to the ground, snapped his ankle, and he was in a lot of pain. They had to take him off. Man, this is tough for a guy that's there to really start making Charlotte relevant again. They've been having a bad year, but they've won 5 in a row, and he's their cornerstone guard that has really been playing amazing. I looked at his stats tonight because I took him in my DraftKings, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with his stats? And all of a sudden I realized, wow, he's out, and he's going to be out. I would say the rest of the season he's gone. Really tough because his brother's gone too. Charlotte didn't need this after, starting to play pretty well. And I really feel sorry for the guy.
Yeah. Especially with like losing one of their other stars, Mikal Bridges, to domestic stuff with his wife, and which is still in the court system. And then now you lose another star, and I feel bad for the Ball fam. It's almost like they got some weird sort of NBA curse going on because now LaMelo went down. Lonzo's got apparently a knee injury that nobody has ever seen before. How troublesome is that? Could you imagine being him saying, "What do you mean you've never seen this injury before?" He's like, "No, nobody has. So good luck."
Crazy. Wow. That's shocking because, basketball, sports in general is known for knee injuries. To not see something, that's got to be scary for everybody involved.
No, it's terrifying because it's like, so out of the decades of basketball and any professional sports that we've ever played on this planet, you're the first one we've ever seen this happen to in a knee. Ever.
Crazy. Wow. That's insane. Yeah, I'm shocked that this happened to him. He's leading the Hornets in points and assists, 23.5 points per game, 8.5 assists, and he's making 4 3-pointers a game. That ranks fourth in the NBA behind only Steph, Clay, Dame, and he's fourth in the NBA. So pretty crazy, but this was definitely a rebuilding year for Charlotte. So I guess it's time to move forward and fully rebuild. Hopefully he gets back healthy really soon, has a good off season, and comes back 100% next year.
Yeah. But here's the problem also with Charlotte. How many years have they been rebuilding for? Like a while, right?
It's
like,
been a while. That's true. Yeah.
At some point in time, you have to think to yourself, we're gonna stop rebuilding and just start like winning.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's your team, and it hasn't been relevant for a long time.
Yeah, no, the last time I want to say they were relevant was Grandmama Larry Johnson.
Larry Johnson, yeah, one of the
Lonzo
best.
Mourning.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when they
guys.
had great teams.
That was a fun team. Yeah, those teams were great, really great.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of ankle injuries, actually, no, I think it's a foot injury. Did you hear about LeBron James? He will miss several weeks with the injury he sustained yesterday. He said he heard something pop when he hit the ground, and there wasn't a lot of talk about it until all of a sudden today the news came out that it's quite serious and he's going to miss several weeks, according to the reports.
Sucks. It sucks because the numbers don't lie. The stats when LeBron is on the team, like the team is absolutely stellar, fantastic. But when that guy doesn't play, that team is bottom of the league in efficiency and points and everything. So that is horrible news for the Lakers. I feel bad for LeBron, but you know what? LeBron is an Iron Man. He'll bounce back. It'll just take him some time, right? And obviously the Lakers are going to give him all the time he needs to recover. But it really is a horrible break for the Lakers because they had just made all these trades. They looked like they were on the up and up. And then their star basketball player goes down with a pretty bad injury.
This is devastating. Just when everybody started thinking they were putting things together, they were getting healthy. I was shocked when I really dove deep into the Western Conference standings today and realized that there's 4 games separating 4th from 13th. And I was like, holy cow, that is a crazy logjam of teams in there. And the funny thing is, all of them are just staying about even. There's only 3 teams in the Western Conference over the past 10 games that haven't went 4-6, 5-5, or 6-4. So no teams are separating themselves except the Nuggets, who finally now have a 5.5 game lead up top. And then the 2 teams on the bottom, the Spurs have lost 16 in a row. And the Rockets are 1-9 in their last 10, lost 9 in a row. Those are the only teams that have done anything but be right in the middle, 500, really, or 1 game from 500. So I don't know what's going to happen, but this really is a huge blow to the Lakers. Coming in, they were in 12th position in the Western Conference, really only had to win a few games to even probably make it into 6th position. They had a realistic chance, but now I don't know. I think this gives them a huge blow, and I don't think we're going to see them advance very far. If LeBron's out for a few weeks, that's going to be killer.
Yeah, I think that's an insurmountable task with the talent that they have. right now. Now, if AD starts playing out of his mind, maybe. But here's the bad thing: he's gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's what the history tells you. He's going to get hurt, and then he's going to be out, and then the Lakers are going to be done. So that's what's probably going to happen.
This weekend's games were some of the best games on a weekend in this whole season, 14 weeks in, and it was spectacular. I was absolutely shocked about how many incredible games there were. The game yesterday that blew me away, I texted you because I was watching the game, and Lillard got 41 by halftime, and I was thinking, oh man, maybe he's going to beat Kobe's 81 and could possibly have the second highest scoring total for an individual in a game in history. He finished last night with 71. It was the most efficient 71-point game in history, least amount of shots. The guy was just on fire. We've been talking about him lately after he won that 3-point contest last week at the All-Star game. But man, another level for Dame time, and it was such a blast to watch.
He was incredible. And then if you want to talk efficiency, he was on the court for 39 minutes. 39 minutes, 71 points. That is absolutely ridiculous. He's damn near going like 2 minutes, 2 points a minute. He's scoring every minute. So he was absolutely incredible. He was on, and just the shot making alone, just looking at the shot making, and the fact that I think for one of the shots he just crossed over half and said, got it.
Here you go.
Oh,
yeah,
done.
Yeah, he's become unguardable because he can just cross half court and he's hit his shooting zone. What do you do? Like, Houston is a horrible team, and this is one of the reasons why he did get that, because they just don't have players to do anything. But you would have thought it would have been like, okay, guys, double, triple team him, let anybody else score. Like, this is ridiculous. And he just this seems to be able to take it to another level and find open spaces. He can just we've been talking about Steph Curry, how he's so dangerous because he can space the floor so much. Dame is taking it to this level, and if Steph doesn't come back fully healthy, Dame has become the best scorer in the league right now.
Well, definitely the best scoring guard in the league.
Best shooter,
for sure. Like right now, I look at Dame and you look at his body of work that he's had over the course of his career. Who's going to argue that he's probably right now, if you're looking at greatest shooting guards to ever play, he's in the top 5. Yeah. He's got to, because no, Dame time's a real thing. Dame time, that's a real thing, because he puts teams away. He's one of the best closers that the NBA has ever seen. And then his 71, that's just shows you just how deadly, how good, and also too how efficient he can be when he's truly, truly on.
No, it's spectacular and incredible. Do you think he's wasted in Portland because they have never had a sniff at a title? Might never have a sniff at a title. It's a small market team that's kind of forgotten a bit. Most people don't know the rest of his teammates. They can't really name a lot of players on the Blazers. Most fans. Do you think he's wasted in Portland? Should he get out of there, or is it good that he's been loyal there?
I think it's what he thinks is what matters. Actually, that's what I think. If he wants to stay there, if he shows that city love because they've showed him love back, then he's good. And then if he's good and you were lucky enough to have this Hall of Fame shooting guard, right? Now it's the organization's duty to give him a team that he can work with to win a championship. It's the organization's, it's their absolute job, because he just said, I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm not going to leave. Give me a team I can win with. That's all I'm asking.
That's all he needs. Yeah. That's not a lot to ask for,
No.
That's what you want. If you want me to stay, just Please give me a team. Yeah. Give me a team that has a chance here. Friday night. Did you hear the score in the Kings Clippers game?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Okay. All right. So I'm flipping through, and then I see a score, and I go, "Wait, what?" Yeah, I did one of these. Nah, I can't be right. I can't be right. And quote me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. 176, 175 in double overtime. I looked at that and I go, that's a video game score. That's me playing against my friend, and we're not playing any defense, by the way. We're just shooting threes and just like swish, 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 swish. Like what is that? I could not believe that score. Highest scoring game in NBA history, by the way, right?
I'm not sure actually. I didn't see if that was. Maybe I'll have to look it up.
I thought I heard that it was, because how could there be another game more than that? Because because they're literally they're close to getting 200 points apiece. Yeah. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. That's why I think every scoring record that's ever been posted in the NBA is going to be obliterated, because teams aren't playing defense anymore, and they're just throwing it up there. We talked about the All-Star game, how bad it was. I think it was 185, 184 or something in that range. And this game had defense, but still, 176, 175. I was shocked. Malik Monk had 45 points, career high. De'Aaron Fox had 42, and Kawhi Leonard had 44. Paul George had 34. They spread out their scoring on LA all the way down to their 12th man, and it was shocking. I was blown away by it. It just completely took me aback. The Clippers ended up having an overtime game again yesterday, and they ended up losing. I was watching Westbrook, and he actually was playing pretty good. And for some reason, they didn't play him 1 minute in the fourth quarter or 1 minute of overtime. He just sat there the rest of the game. He only played 25 minutes. He had 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists in those 3 quarters. And I thought, okay, well, he's resting a little bit. And I had him in my DraftKings, so I'm like, okay, he's going to come back and get some points, make me some money. And they just decided not to play him again. In overtime, it was definitely the Jokic show. That he got his 99th career triple-double, 40 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists. Really, basically, it's his MVP to lose now. 3-time MVP, first time since Larry Bird. And he's just unbelievable. Like, you talk about Dame Lillard being unstoppable, but Jokic is in that category. Like, the guy's just so good.
Yeah, he thinks the game several steps ahead of everybody else, because it's not like his athleticism is going to be like, oh no, he's dominating me with this. No, that's not how he plays the game. Like he just sees the game far ahead of everybody else, and that's his gift. That's really his gift. And then plus on top of that, anybody that can pass like Magic Johnson is special, and he's a center and he can do that. And that's unicorn like. That's what that is right there. So it is a pleasure to watch him play. I think he's amazing. He's fantastic. But going back to what you said about Westbrook, I mentioned it before in the podcast last week, that they're going to have to figure out a way to use him correctly. And I think that's what they did. I told you that if you put him in there at the end of the game, you don't know if he's going to win you the game. You don't know if he's going to lose you the game. You don't know. And then you know what the Clippers decided? We're just going to make sure you don't lose us the game, so you don't play. There we go.
Yeah, I guess that's what they did. I'm shocked that once they got behind quite heavily in overtime, they didn't put him out there to try to get change something up, because I think Denver scored the first 9 or 10 points of the overtime immediately, and they just did not trust him, I guess, and he was gone. My mistake for choosing him. He was fitting in with his salary, and they used him a fair amount the game before, and I thought, okay, they like what they see, but no, not not that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think they're just gonna pick and choose where they put him in spots. Like during the middle of the game, yeah, for sure. But when it comes down to the crunch time minutes, man, I don't know if the coach there will trust him in those situations.
Yeah. The other big story kind of that emerged yesterday was the Lakers were down 27 points to the Dallas Mavericks in the first half. Any team that's been down that far this season, the record is 0-138. They made the comeback and beat the Mavs. The Mavs have no defense. This Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic is going to be good on the offensive side, but when you have no defense, a 27-point lead can evaporate and you can lose even to the Lakers. And it was brutal. They're only 1-3 since Kyrie has joined the team. This is an experiment that's not working, obviously.
Well, and also too is because of what they had to give up to get Kyrie, which is Dorian Finney-Smith, which is one of their best wing defenders. So now that he's gone, and he covered up a lot of mistakes, he's gone now. Now those mistakes are glaring. And then also too, I believe their other defensive stud, Maxi Kleber, is injured.
Right.
So there's another guy that's gone. That's one of your defensive pillars. So now that those two guys are gone, you got an undersized guard and Luka, who's like, wow, I don't know, I do a lot on offense, so I think I'm good here. And then Kyrie is like disinterested. Defense, I'll try, but he's also undersized. So bigger guards are going to take advantage of him in that respect. So, Dallas not very good defensively, and it's showing because you got a Lakers squad that beat them without LeBron. What does that tell you?
Yeah, pretty brutal and tough, and this is definitely not working, and I don't think it will. But it's been an interesting few days in the NBA, and we'll see. We'll see how they put things together. I'm looking forward to the week ahead, and the other big news that happened today was Quinn Snyder was given a 5-year contract to take over the Hawks. Now it's on Trae Young to get along with his coach and figure this out. He's led to 2 firings over the past year and a half, and Quinn Snyder with this 5-year deal seems to be entrenched in there. And if he can't get along with Trae, I think they'll have to move on from Trae and figure it out. But do you think Quinn's going to make a difference there?
I think he should. He's good enough. And if Trae's receptive to, being like coached, like just being coached, then he should be fine. Like, I think there was honestly, I think there was like some sort of old school generational issues with Nate McMillan and Trae. That's where I think there was a lot of animosity started being bred from that. But Quinn Snyder is a new age coach with new age philosophies, and he's hip. He understands how new players think, and he's good with it. So in that respect, there should be no friction between the two of them. And now it just will come down to basketball, and hopefully, Trae gets on board with what he wants to bring to the team, and away they go. So that's what everybody's hoping for. And I know Quinn Snyder is a hell of a coach. He's excellent. So I just expect good things from there. But he's just going to have to figure out his personnel and then maybe get some players and round it out. So.
We still got quite a bit of the regular season left in the NBA, but I think there's only 4 teams that can win the championship now. I think it's Boston and Milwaukee in the East, and it's Denver and Phoenix in the West. I think everybody else can just get ready to pack their bags and go golfing soon. I don't think any other team's going to be able to compete with those 4.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, especially out east, because like it's pretty clear that Milwaukee and Boston are ahead of the class. Philly's there, but I don't trust them.
No.
Philly's there, but I don't trust them. So there's that, and then yes, with Durant on on Phoenix now, yeah, yeah. How could they not be favored? How
Yeah.
could they not be favored? They're absolutely favored. But then also too, the Nuggets are rolling. I love the construction. Their roster construction for that team, I think, is one of the best in the NBA. And then that's why they're so good. And then also too, it helps that they're being led by potential 3-time NBA MVP. So yeah, they're good.
Does does Jokic have to get to an NBA final over the next couple of seasons to legitimize these MVPs to really prove that he is the best player in the game? He's winning MVP 3 years in a row. He should be considered the best player in the game, but they're not advancing far enough in the playoffs for him to be in that conversation. Really, is he?
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. He does need to get there now. Like he's now should be feeling the pressure of I keep getting these NBA MVPs, so I'm gonna have to do something about that. Like he's got to get to the Western Conference Finals. I think if he doesn't make it to at least the Western Conference Finals, Denver's season can be seen as a failure.
What about the Warriors? Do we have to even consider them to be a threat this year, or is this a write-off year again?
Steph's still injured. He's still out with an injury. Clay's been playing well, though. What was it? A couple games ago, he hit 12 threes. I think him and Steph are the only two players that hit at least 12 threes in 2 NBA games, at least in their career. That's awesome. But I don't know, man. They're not like last year. The team is not like last year. Their defense has been woefully insignificant. Like it has been so bad. It's been absolutely horrible, deplorable. Like they can't play defense on the road. They can win at home. They got one of the best home records in the NBA, but they can't win on the road. And then they all of a sudden their defense is non-existent too. So I think it's a lot to ask for them to all of a sudden turn it on and all of a sudden their defense is on point and everything else. They can score the ball, we all know that, but it's their defense that has let them down time and time again. So I don't know if I expect much for them for this run this year.
I heard some really bad news for the Bucks today. The owners of the Cleveland Browns are about to purchase part of the team. We all know how great the Cleveland Browns organization has run for the last, I don't know, 50 years, 60 years, whatever it's been. This can't be good news for the people of Milwaukee.
How much money does that family have? Are you serious? Why?
They're valuating the Bucks at $3.5 billion, and they're planning on purchasing a portion of it, whatever the guy wants, whatever portion he's selling. The Suns have been worth $4 billion. They just recently were sold, and the Denver Broncos' highest valuation of any North American team, $4.65 billion, all purchased since June of 2021. So yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't think I'd be excited if I was a Bucks fan, thinking that the Browns owners are going to purchase us, because Browns have been horribly run very, very, very poorly for my whole lifetime.
Yeah, their management not very good. Not very good at all. But if you're a player, you're just like, wow, but they'll just throw their money at you. This is awesome. Because Deshaun Watson, literally one of the few quarterbacks, not only, I should say, one of the very, very few quarterbacks that has had his entire contract guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, by the way, exactly what Lamar Jackson is looking for, apparently. He's expecting something guaranteed of $200 million.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to give it to him. It just might not be the Ravens, by the
way. Yeah. I think it's too risky for a quarterback these days, and especially a guy that's, has had some injury troubles. And Cleveland had to do that in a way to get somebody relevant because nobody really wants to go to the Browns. So, you got to throw money at people to entice them to a team that they don't really want to go to.
Yeah, exactly. And they did that, but at the other owners saying, "What are you doing? Why would you do that? You're ruining everything for everyone now." Right? Because I think a lot of owners were super pissed off that they did that. Super pissed off because it's almost like it's collusion, right? It's like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do, guys, and this is how we're going to control at least this. But then the Browns owners go, hell with all of that. We're just gonna do our own thing, and they're just like, oh, that's not good. That's not good now because now the Ravens owners are just like, look at what you did now. Now we can't sign our guy. And we can't sign our guy. But
Yeah.
somebody's going to give him that money. Somebody's going to give Lamar that money. I'm just curious to see who's going to be the one to do it.
Well, speaking of NFL quarterbacks, did you hear that the Commanders released Carson Wentz today, saved themselves $26.2 million on their salary cap and cut him adrift? This is his, fourth team in the past 3 seasons? Is he done in the NFL? Is it CFL, XFL, USFL next? What happens to Carson Wentz? Do you think somebody picks him up?
Somebody can always use a second or third string quarterback. So I think somebody will pick him up because somebody can just be like, all right, we'll pay you a little bit of money and then you're there just in case. You're never going to see the field, by the way, but you're there just in case, right? Like I can definitely see somebody doing that because he still has enough talent to at least do that, right? So, but at the same time, I don't know if you want that guy to be your starter. Right? And yeah. I think those days are gone.
That might be gone, yeah. Speaking of the Commanders, NFL owners have decided they want to hold a vote to vote out Dan Snyder as the owner of the Commanders. They have finally just had enough of him. They want to hold a vote and boot him out of the league, make him sell the team and give it up. He has threatened to sue them. He has threatened to uncover a bunch of information that he knows about the owners and about the collusion and about a bunch of stuff with the NFL, supposedly, allegedly. So there's a big fight going on between them now. Hopefully the owners get their way and Dan Snyder is no longer part of the NFL because I think he's been a black mark on this league for a really long time.
I think he's been a cancer for a really long time. Like it's like you can be a bad owner, just keep it quiet. You can't do that. And that's why all the other owners are like, what's wrong with you? You an idiot? Yeah. Thought you were rich. But man, like I think even with his threats, the other NFL owners are like, do it. We still want you out. Like, think about that for a second. It's like, even with Dan Snyder's threats, and I'm sure he has some dirt, all the other owners are like, do it. We don't care. Yeah. We want you out that badly that we're willing to just say, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. We'll see. I think it's going to be a battle. He wants to take him to court, and we'll see. It doesn't sound like it's going to. It's going to finish well. I think it'll get ugly, and it will be kind of crazy to see it play out. The other NFL story that sort of emerged over this past week was a story that was put in The Athletic from some of the Seattle reporters. There was word that Russell Wilson decided to try to hold a coup and get rid of John Schneider and Pete Carroll when he was there. He wanted the owners to fire them and bring in some friends of his. He wanted Sean Payton to be coach. He wanted somebody else to be the general manager. And the Seahawks ownership said, hey, go back to the locker room and get ready to freaking play. We're not doing that. And so that was kind of the beginning of the end of Russell Wilson in Seattle. He denies it, but I read the story and they're very credible sources. And I kind of believe that what they're saying is true.
He led a coup. That's amazing. Where he's just like, you know what? I think it's time we took power. think it's time I took power. Like, what are you doing? Are you kidding me? Like that's just so it's so ridiculous to me. It's so ridiculous to me. Like Pete Carroll, I thought was one of those coaches that definitely has his players back, and I thought he definitely had Russell Wilson's back.
Oh yeah, sure seemed like it.
Time. And then for him to just Russell just turn around and be like, "Nah, man, you're done. I'm going to twist the dagger in your back." I'm like, get out of there. Get out of there. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? But at the same time, with some of what other former players have said about Russell Wilson, maybe I'm not too surprised to hear about that either. That this is what happened.
Yeah, well, I feel that Pete was probably protecting him because there's so many stories that are emerging since he's left there that nobody heard, weren't emerging from that. It seemed like it was kumbaya there, pretty symbiotic. The only thing that I ever heard out of that whole tenure that he was there that people were mad at was that they didn't run the ball in the second Super Bowl. And Marshawn Lynch was pissed off and rightly so. And, but you didn't hear about all this animosity. You didn't hear about these coups. You didn't hear about the troubles that other guys had with Russell Wilson until he left. And now, it's just been story after story after story that Russell Wilson just puts on this friendly face, but really stabs people in the back as often as he can.
Yeah, and he's a total complete diva on top of everything else. So I would say that Pete Carroll was like amazing at keeping a lid on all of this and not letting it get out, which is absolutely amazing that he did that for a decade, for 1 decade. And what was his prize? What was his prize? I want you gone. That was his prize.
Yeah. Well, we saw it with KD. He tried to get rid of Steve Nash and Sean Marks last year with the Nets, and they called his bluff and said, "No, that's not going to happen. Play ball, or go somewhere else." And he ended up playing the season until he finally got traded. So it's happened in sports, but it's funny that we didn't hear this until now. This story finally emerged, and we'll see if Sean Payton can handle him in Denver. There was a story. I saw the press conference, and Sean Payton had heard that Russell Wilson had his own private quarterback coach and a guy that just hung around, part of his entourage. And he goes, no, that's not going to happen around here. No, if he's not an employee of the Broncos, he's not welcome in the locker room. He will not be working with Russ. And, he's welcome to hit the next plane going out. And I think he's going to not take any of Russ's shit. And we're just going to see them have to get along with Sean Payton being strict of how he wants to run the football team.
Yeah, that diva stuff is gone. That's gone. Sean Payton's now there. This is my ship. This is the way it's going to be run. Get on board.
Yeah.
Get on board. Because I will say this, Sean Payton's not going anywhere. Sean Payton, how about this? Sean Payton ain't Nathaniel Hackett. So, he knows how to win. He knows how to breed a culture. He knows how to breed a culture that does win. And so Russell Wilson is just going to have to learn to get on board, man. That's it.
He will. That's it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, okay, why don't we switch to the UFC? UFC Fight Night 220, Vegas 70 this past weekend. After the weigh-ins, we lost 2 fights. Haley Cowan and Aylin Perez. Cowan got an illness. As soon as they stepped off the scales, also Jose Johnson and Garrett Armafield. Johnson was not cleared by a doctor to compete. He was having too much problems weight cutting. And then, just as the main card was starting, we got breaking news that the main event was also off the cards with Nikita Krylov and Ryan Spann supposed to face off against each other in a much anticipated battle we were all excited for. Krylov was sick, was unable to get himself healthy enough for the commission to allow the fight to go. And that main event was eliminated off the cards, pushing the co-main event to the main event. Quite the blow to the card because I was really excited about this fight. I wasn't excited about too many of the fights on the card, but this one really sucked that it had to be pulled.
Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, this was the fight that kind of made the card, made it interesting at least, anyways. And now then when it got pulled, like I kind of missed it. So where I'm now expecting to see the main card, then I was like, wait, is it over? Like, I guess I'm not seeing the main card. So hopefully they reschedule that fight somewhere down the line and soon, because I think that's a fight that definitely needs to happen, and that's a fight that definitely fans want to see.
Oh yeah, yeah, big time. Let's hope that they can put it together in the next coming weeks. But yeah, it was super frustrating. Just we've had too many cards get pulled in the past little while, and or too many fights from cards get pulled in the last little while, and that was the fight I was really excited to see, and boom, it was over. The co-main event, you and I both said Andre Muniz was, definitely the guy that we thought was going to win. He was on a nine fight winning streak, 5-0 in the UFC, and really just looking pretty much unbeatable, especially on the ground. Brendan Allen, I thought, was biting off more than he could chew, but no, not the case. Brendan Allen beat Muniz at his own game, took him to the ground, and really just showed superior skills, jiu-jitsu skills, and was able to get a phenomenal submission win, and really rose his stock way, way, way up.
Yes, he really did. Like even in the stand-up, like it was close, but I thought Allen was just subtly ahead and getting off first in the striking department. And then when he took it to the ground, he was, I would categorize him as being patient, yet super technical, took his time to make sure that, as he was inching closer and closer to getting that rear naked choke. And then finally he got it against a very, very good jiu-jitsu specialist in Muniz. And I was impressed, man. And he got it at the end of the third round, right at the end. I thought there's one thing about Brendan Allen I do need to say. The man is a finisher. It doesn't matter what round it is. It doesn't matter where the fight is. He's looking to finish. He could have easily took his foot off the pedal and just won the fight, but he was still hunting for the finish, even within like the last minute of that fight.
Yeah, that was impressive, and you got to love a guy that really wants to finish the fight. Muniz was fighting off the rear naked choke in many ways, every way he could, but finally that choke sunk in, and he had to tap. He gets $50K for the bonus. He ends up getting another $25K because it's the main event, and you get that for the main event. And all fighters that got finishes on this card got $50K bonuses. Dana was being extra generous and decided to hand out, I think there was 6 finishes, so another $300K was handed out to the fighters, and that was great to see. Dana open the purse strings a little bit and hand out some more money.
Well, yeah, because I guess he was just like, well, these guys are fighting at least, so that's good. My main card fell out, so I think he's rewarding the people that are fighting on cards like this, where it's like you put in a good performance. I'm appreciative of the fact because card is not necessarily strong, so here's something here, and also too, it gives other fighters in the UFC to know that's a little bit of incentive. That's your incentive, which is finish the fight, make it look good. You get some money.
So Allen decided to call out many fighters after he said he wants to fight Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis, Jack Hermanson, and Dricus du Plessis. All amazing. I think. I hope they can put one of these guys together in his sights really soon.
Yeah, and I think all of those guys that he just named were all in the top 10, I believe, every single one of them. So he did well in saying, when Bisping gave him the mic and said, call somebody else, like, call somebody else. Give me a sec. Give me my paper. Okay, here we go. So, and they're all great call-ups. All of them are great call-ups. All of them would be great fights. All fights I would like to see.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm excited. Great on him. Amazing performance. And I'd love to see him fight very soon. They should put that together. They're under pressure when all of a sudden they're the main event. And Brendan Allen delivered a great performance. Okay, the co-main now, the heavyweight battle. We talked about Augusta Sakai. Hadn't won in a couple of years, was on a 4-fight losing streak, all knockouts, and fighting a guy, Dontel Mays, who comes in. He's from the Jackson Wink camp, fights against Jon Jones every day, the GOAT in the sport. And you think this could be really, really bad for Augusto if he loses. You said, hey, his back's against the wall. We might see an amazing performance, and we sure did. He really grinded out this win, used his heavy frame, was able to get him up against the cage, put a lot of weight on him, and really have a great performance. I was impressed by Sakai.
Yeah, I was impressed too. Like his grappling along the fence is what basically drained Dontel May's tank. It drained him. And it was constant. He was on him, and then he threw great knees in the clinch, hurting Mays time and time again. But it was just that relentless pushing up against the fence and grinding on him. And like you could just see that Mays was getting weaker and weaker as the rounds went on. And then that's what really limited him, because Dontel Mays, I think, needs more space because he's a very athletic fighter, and he needed space to throw his combos, and Augusto wasn't giving him any of that.
Smothered him, just absolutely smothered him. Yeah. He was very emotional after the fight, losing 4 in a row and worrying about your job. He said he was really, really appreciative and thankful that they gave him that one last chance. His contract was a 5-fight contract, so now that's up. He's really hoping to get a new contract. This will go a long way to ensuring that they give him another shot. He was just like, thank you so much for not giving up on me, giving me one last chance, and I hope I delivered. And I think the UFC is probably going to announce that they've reached another agreement with him for another contract going forward.
Yeah, I could see that, and obviously at a little bit of a diminished amount from when he first started. But yes, I can see that he would have earned himself another contract with that win.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Okay, the women's flyweight fight between Tatiana Suarez and Montana De La Rosa. Suarez, as I mentioned, she had missed nearly 4 years of action, and she came in and looked phenomenal. Really had a super impressive performance, and was able to get the submission victory, and really put the women's division on notice. She said she wants to fight at 115, and she thinks that she has a chance to win the title. She wants nothing less. She's coming for it, and with this performance, I don't doubt that she gets an opportunity soon.
Yeah, well, she just showed again why she's one of the best grapplers in her division. Out-grappled De La Rosa, even fighting above her normal weight class when she fought De La Rosa. So it took her some time to get her down, but once she did, once she began to wear on her and then finally began taking her down, it was only a matter of time. And then in the second round where she jumped into the guillotine choke. So when you do that, you're very sure that you have it locked in, because if you don't, now she has top position. And so when she she jumped into the guillotine choke, myself, I thought, she must have that locked in. But then I was like, maybe she doesn't, because De La Rosa fought her for quite some time until she finally had to tap. I was impressed with her will that she had to try to fight off that choke, because De La Rosa fought that off for quite some time until she was forced to fight.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah, it seemed like she was getting out of it at times, and then she finally it just seemed to sink in a little deeper, and she was forced to tap. But yeah, it was way to go fighting it off, Montana. But Tatiana is really phenomenal on the ground and with her jiu-jitsu, and she's able to get a big win. The fight that kicked off the main card was the all-Canadian battle between proper Mike Malott and Johan the White Lion Lioness. I was mentioning last week that I wasn't happy that it had to be two Canadians fighting each other, but they came out. Both were sort of a little tentative at first, just trying to feel each other out. And then Mike Malott ended up getting the huge submission victory. Once he got the full mount and was able to get that arm and triangle choke, it was all she wrote. I like Mike Malott. I think that team out of Southern Ontario, great team. Really, really can produce a lot of talented fighters, and good to see somebody get a victory here, get that extra 50K, and definitely move himself up the rankings.
Yeah, he took the path of least resistance. Knew that he was the better grappler. Knew that Lioness was super dangerous on the feet. Wanted literally no part of that.
No.
Took him to the ground and made it easy on himself. Especially when he got the full mount, then moved to the head and arm choke. Cinched that in, and you're just like, oh. And then, yeah, you can see Lioness begin to struggle, like a lot, mightily, and it was over. And he did it in the first round. I was impressed.
Yeah, it was strange because these guys are former training partners, friends outside the cage. Malott said that he really wants to train with him again. Hopefully they can. He said, unfortunately it was two Canadians. One guy had to lose, but he said, hopefully we inspired a lot of young Canadians that were watching us, and give them a thought that they can chase their dreams and get in here if they want to. He was very, very, very emotional after this fight and seemed super happy. He also congratulated his teammate who was on the card as well. Her name is Jasmine Jasdavicius, and we'll get to her in a second. But yeah, it was great to see the teammates go out there together, both fight on the same card and both get victories.
Yeah, it sure was. It was great. It was great that he acknowledged his teammates' win as well against a very tough opponent in Fernandez. Very tough.
Yeah. He really said, please come back to Canada, UFC. You haven't been in a while. Please come back. We need you. If you come to Toronto, I'll sell that thing out. He's talking about the arena where the Maple Leafs play in. What's that one called again? I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but he wants to sell that baby out. And it has been a long time. We haven't seen the UFC since the one you and I attended here in Vancouver, Justin Gaethje, Cowboy Cerrone. That's going back to 2019. It's been a while now. I'm pretty shocked that it's been that long since there has been a Canadian card. Even Jasmine asked for it and tried to say, UFC, let's go to Canada, hurry up, we miss you. And can you believe that that's the last time we've seen a card here in Canada?
I didn't realize that much time had passed. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't realize that much time has passed. Let's be honest though. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for COVID, they probably would have been here soon. All right? That's what I definitely will say. If it wasn't for that, the epidemic having happened and everything, I think they would have been here sooner. But now that has somewhat died down, it is time. It is time that they came back. And not just once. That's not good enough anymore. 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times this year.
I think so, yeah.
Enough. Like go into the middle of the country and the 2 coasts. Yeah. Toronto, Vancouver. Figure out what the middle is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you want to do with that. But just go to the 2 coasts and then somewhere in the middle. That's what you owe us, UFC. Dana, you hear me? 3 times. 3.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah. That was UFC Fight Night 158, September 14th, 2019. As I mentioned, the main event was Justin Gaethje, Cowboy Cerrone. That was a knockout in the first round. Nikita Krylov was on that card. He got beat by Glover Teixeira, split decision win there. The fight of the night was Tristan Connolly beating Michel Pereira. He got the $100,000 bonus because Pereira missed weight, and that was the fight of the night. Also on the card, Uriah Hall beat Antonio Carlos Jr. Misha Serkinov beat Jimmy Crute, and Augusta Sakai, who fought on this card as well, beat Marcin Tybura. Those were the highlights of that card. And yeah, you're right. If it wasn't the pandemic, we would have seen it sooner, I'm sure. But man, I miss the UFC live, and hopefully we get to see them back very soon. And I think, yeah, 3 or 4 cards in Canada would be good. Toronto's not the coast, so don't call it the coast, but it's the major center. We can get one in Toronto. Let's go Edmonton or Calgary, and then out here in Vancouver would be great.
You're right. I don't know why I said that. I always just look at, like, okay, so Ontario's on one side of the world and we're on the other. So, but yes, you understand what I'm trying to say. That's where they need to go. That's where they need to be.
Yeah. And I will, the UFC, if you put them on, I'll attend to all of them. I'll promote them big time. We'll pack the place. We'll make sure. Just send us some good cards, and we'll make sure it's something that it'll take you a long time to forget.
No, yeah, no, it's memories, just beautiful memories. That's what we're trying to develop here. Beautiful, beautiful memories for the UFC.
Okay, the card that ended up being the feature prelim was not supposed to be. It got moved up, as all these fights did. This is a lightweight battle between Eric Ghost Pepper Gonzalez and Trevor Peek. Peek making his UFC debut. Gonzalez 0-2 in the UFC. These two guys don't know how to fight. I don't know why they're in the UFC. I don't think they deserve to be in the UFC yet. They are raw. They are not good. This was kind of a joke. I was like, oh my God, these guys should not be in the UFC. I don't know what the hell's going on. Trevor Peek out of Alabama, one of the biggest rednecks that has graced the octagon in a long time. He was fighting like I've seen girls fight outside the bars locally. There was punches like this being thrown, and it was pretty bad. It was like a train wreck. You had to watch it, but oh my God, these guys better go to the gym, train very, very hard for their next appearance, because if they come in with this weak of an effort, their careers aren't going to be long in the UFC.
That's odd. I thought I was watching a technical masterpiece. My goodness, no, I was amazed, because I'm like, Peak is just. I'll say this: the dude throws hard. He throws kicks hard, not technically well, but he throws kicks hard, and his punches, he was just winging them, just winging punches, and I'm just like, all right, cool, man. There's no real technique there, but he's throwing hard. All right, he's throwing hard. So I was just kind of like, it was almost like kind of watching like a local fight on the local show.
Yeah, regional show. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like a regional local show.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a guy wind up on his punches or his kicks so much. Like he was going back like this to throw punches and just like telegraphing the living hell out of it. If he fights somebody that knows how to fight, he's dead meat. There's no way he's going to be able to connect. It was just like, oh man, like, come on. Like, yeah, okay, you're tough. You fight on the street, great, but come on, man. Like, technique, you're telegraphing your punches like crazy, dude. Like, that is not the way to go against some top level competition.
Yeah, no, but it was just awesome to see, because I'm like, oh, he's gonna throw the punch from way back here. It was. I don't know, man. I was laughing my ass off, because I'm like, what am I actually watching here? This is just great. Great.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, I was watching with Lorraine, and she was keeping her eye on the card a little bit here and there, but she laughed so hard during that fight, and she said, that was one of the funniest things she's seen in a long time. Even his post-fight interview, you could barely understand the guy. He had such a southern accent, Alabama boy. I'm so excited, first time I've ever been here. Oh, thanks for interviewing me. And, oh my God, it was just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, man. I heard the banjo playing in the background, so I'm like, oh, this guy's right from the country. This is excellent, awesome. And you're right. I didn't actually understand anything that he said. I heard that he was thankful to be there. That's what I got out of that. That's what I got.
Yeah. Oh yeah. His picture with Bruce Buffer, his smile was ear to ear. Like, I'm actually standing next to Bruce Buffer. Like, check me out. This guy, yeah. You gotta act like you've been there before. You know, they used to say that when you score a touchdown, don't celebrate too much. Just act like you've been there before and you'll get there again. Not this guy. This might have been one and done because he was just out of his mind. I can't believe I'm here.
Yeah, no, he was super excited. You know what? I'll give him his moment. Won the fight, awesome. He gets to fight again. I don't know. Hopefully, his competition's not too upper echelon because it shouldn't be. So yeah, but he gets to fight again in UFC. So good for him. Way to go.
Good for him. Yeah. I mentioned Jasmine Jasudavicius earlier. She faced a tough opponent in Gabriel Fernandez, who's a jiu-jitsu expert, great on the ground, but Jasmine took her down all 3 rounds, ground her out, had her in a crucifix at times that I thought might have the fight stopped. Really used awesome techniques to keep the fight on the ground, and just had a really impressive win.
Yeah, very impressive. Her grappling was definitely leagues ahead of Fernandez, because Fernandez didn't even do anything technical to even try to get up. So that was a huge hole in her game, because whenever they did stand up, Fernandez was definitely getting the better of her in the stand-up department, in the striking. She was definitely, I thought she was faster. I thought she was stronger. But once the grappling started, she was pretty much neutralized. And then she didn't have the capacity to even get up after she was taken down. So great win by Jasudavicius. Great win by her. And great way to start off the card with a Canadian win.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Jordan Levitt got a big win. Utilized the tie clinch, got some huge knees up the middle, landed that one that just hit him right on the button, seemed to just crumple him. In steps Jason Herzog, fights it off, or calls it off. Levitt, first knockout, real legitimate knockout win out of his career. He was super excited. This guy has been such a submission guy, has got that one big slam win, but had never really knocked a guy out like that, and seemed to be super thrilled that he had, and a little bit surprised too, but big win.
Yeah, huge win for Levitt, and yeah, great technique on the clinch, and then throwing those knees right up the middle. And when he tagged them with that first one and crumpled them, then tagged them again, and then it was those 2 devastating knees. It was over. It's over after that.
Yeah, it was great. Really grind out victory for Odi Osborne, the Jamaican sensation, over Charles Johnson. This was a really close fight. I wasn't sure. I kind of thought maybe Johnson was going to take this. It ended up being a split decision. This was razor thin, very hard to judge, very evenly matched. Just such a smart matchup for the matchmakers, and Osborne gets his hand raised in this one.
Yeah, it was super close. You know what? Like, quality-wise, these guys were pretty much on par with each other. I just thought that Ode Osborne was a busier fighter in the first round than Johnson was. Johnson was still trying to get into his groove, and Osborne was the busier fighter. And I thought that's what was the difference on the judges' scorecard, was that first round that Osborne managed to take. So great that the Jamaican won. Tough fought victory. Both men were like emptying the tank in that third round. But I thought even then, in that last minute and a half or whatever, Ode Osborne was throwing more and trying harder even though Johnson was right there with him, I thought that he had more strikes that was being thrown at the end of that fight.
I'm not sure who takes the win, but both of these guys were competing for the worst haircut in the history of man. Who would you give the victory to?
I think I'm going to give it to Johnson. I think Johnson wins it for the worst haircut.
Yeah, that was pretty pathetic. Yeah, I definitely don't think I'm ever going to go to the barber and ask for one of those lids because they were terrible. Oh man, I don't know who convinced them to cut their hair that way. It's pretty bad.
No, I you know what? You know me. I go with good old, like, tight to the head. Tight.
Yeah, good idea. Better than that, that's for sure. Okay, let's finish this off. What do you think of Joe Solecki's submission win over Carl Deaton? Deaton was a late replacement. It was supposed to be Benoit Saint Denis in there. Solecki said he was really happy that there was a pullout. He was getting bored training for Saint Denis for the last 5 months. He was going to face a southpaw. Suddenly had an orthodox guy making his UFC debut. Solecki was definitely the better fighter in this one. Good on Carl to come in and do the late replacement, but there was levels and Solecki was miles above, I thought.
Yeah, and especially when it came to the grappling department. Like he basically just wore on Deaton as the fight went on, and then eventually in the second round got him down to the ground, worked around to his back, got the rear naked choke. It sucked that Deaton wasn't able to get in a full fight camp, obviously, but definitely Solecki was the better fighter, and I think he was always been the better fighter.
Yeah,
got the win.
I thought Solecki might have some troubles as the fight wore on because his backpack that whole first round with the triangle body triangle with his legs, and I thought he might get worn out, but his cardio was great and was able to get that takedown in the second round. Also get the back and continue to try to sink in the rear naked choke until he finally did. Deaton didn't even really get a chance to tap, and he went out. He went to sleep.
That's right, because I think Deaton at one point in time thought about it and then said, no, I'm going out on my shield, and then went to bed. He got put to bed.
He was done. Yeah. Okay, we are in the week of Jon Jones finally returning to the octagon after being away for 3 years. We have not seen him grace the octagon since 2019. He is now a heavyweight. I understand he's weighing in about 250 pounds for this one, fighting the Frenchman Cyril Gane for the heavyweight belt now that Francis Ngannou has left the UFC. Do you think Jon Jones will still be as dominant as he has been in his career?
This is a tough one. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. He's been away for so long that you'd have to think there's got to be some ring rust there. Has to be. Like, I'm sorry. You've been away for 3 years. You haven't fought in 3 years. And you're fighting an exceptional stand-up fighter. Cyril Gane is an exceptional stand-up fighter. So I would imagine that Jon Jones might actually have to threaten him. He's going to have to mix in the threat of takedowns and his striking. He's going to have to blend in both, and he's going to have to blend them both in beautifully because Cyril Gane is hard to take down, hard to find, and also too he's tough to keep down. He's already proven that. So I'm excited that he's back, but I'm also very curious to see what I'm going to see.
Yeah. Cyril Gane is such a big guy. Very, very, very tough to submit, very hard to take down, and it's going to be very difficult for Jones. Yeah, we'll see. This has been a long time coming. Can't wait to finally see it and see what he's like at heavyweight. The co-main event has Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko fighting the next up, Alexa Grasso, who's number 5 ranked coming in here. The last time we seen Valentina, she had a really tough time against Talia Santos. She only got a split decision in UFC 275. That was June the 12th, 2022. That was probably the toughest she's ever had outside of Amanda Nunes. Maybe Alexa Grasso watches that fight and thinks that maybe there's some chinks in the armor and has an opportunity to take the belt. I know Valentina is one of your favorite fighters, always has been. What do you think we're going to see?
I think first off, Alexa Grasso has probably dissected that fight that Talia Santos had against Valentina Shevchenko and saying, these are certain things I'll have to mimic in this fight. I have to do this if I'm even going to give myself a shot at beating this pretty much unbeatable woman. At the same time, I think Valentina went back to the lab herself and said, I guess these are things I'm just going to have to shore up and make sure that you can't take advantage of those weaknesses anymore. I'm looking at this fight. Okay, at first when Shevchenko fought Talia Santos, I didn't think Santos had a chance, and then she did. And she proved me very, very, very wrong. I don't believe Grasso's the same kind of fighter as Santos, though. I'm sorry. I do not believe. I don't see it. So I think, again, I'm going with my fighter. I'm going with Valentina again. I think she's going to win. I think it's going to be a dominant win. I think it may take her some time to crack the code, but she's going to crack the code.
I tend to agree with you. I think Shevchenko is, at another level. I think Santos had the skills necessary, but I don't think Grasso presents the same type of weapons and skill level. So I think you're right. I'm really looking forward to the Mateus Gamrot fight with Jalen Turner. Jalen has such height and reach advantages. If he can use his legs, a lot of kicks to keep Gamrot off, I think he wins this. But Gamrot's got to pressure, get in his face, cut off that distance and go. But I think this is a hell of a battle. Styles make fights, and I think this is probably going to be fight of the night on my card.
Okay, you think that's going to be fight of the night? I'm going to disagree. I think it's the fight above that one that might be fight of the night, which is Rakhmonov against Jeff Neal. I think, talk about styles make fights. Those are two very different styles, and I think they're just going to be coming at each other. I think that fight is going to turn out to be an absolute war because they're technically both very sound and savvy everywhere. So I'm definitely looking forward to that
fight. The Bo Nickel Jamie Pickett fight kicks off the main card. Bo Nickel was quite the darling from the Dana White Contender Series. Comes in undefeated, really won over the crowd there. Had to win a couple times on the Contender Series to get himself a shot, and finally does. We get to see the return of Cody Garbrandt fighting Trevin Jones. That'll be fun. Dricus Duplessis, Arnold Allen called him out after his fight. He's fighting Derek Brunson. This one should be a hell of a battle. I love that at middleweight.
Yeah, I think that's a great fight. It's a great fight. And I swear, didn't we just see Dricus? Didn't we just see him? Didn't he just fight like 2 months ago or a month ago?
Recent, yeah.
I love the guys that stay busy, especially if you can afford to do so and you're not injured or suffered any sort of like really bad injuries or head stuff. I think it's best for you guys, for a fighter, if they're on a roll, keep rolling. Keep rolling.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, keep going. The fight that kicks off the prelims has Julian the Cuban Missile Crisis Marquez against Mark Andre Powerbar Barrio, the Canadian. This fight should be amazing too.
Oh yeah, I look forward to that because I can't remember the last time I saw Julian Marquez fight. I want to say I think it's been a while, but that is stylistically a great matchup, great fight.
Yeah. There's quite a few early prelims. Jessica Penne is fighting on that. Lots of fights on this card. UFC 285. It's from Vegas, but it's from the large arena there. So normal times, And yeah, we're got 2 o'clock early prelims, 4 o'clock, no, sorry, 5 o'clock prelim card, and then 7 o'clock main card. Yeah, can't wait. UFC 285. Finally get to see Jon Bones Jones, many people's consensus, greatest of all time MMA fighter.
And if he wins this fight, it's gonna be hard to not have him as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, there was a huge fight yesterday, a big fight card from Saudi Arabia. Jake Paul finally got to fight a boxer. I'll put quotation marks around it. These two guys, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Don't think anybody should be surprised. Very inexperienced fighters that looked very inexperienced. This was not a pretty fight. They both didn't look very good. Tommy Fury definitely was the more active fighter. And when you're fighting short fights like an 8-rounder, when you're more active and there's close rounds, you're going to get the nod. He got the nod. I was trying to score it myself, and I had it close. The referee made some very weird calls and took some points away. Jake Paul knocked down Tommy Fury in the 8th round, so it would have been a 10-8 round. But he took some points away, 1 point for holding, 1 point for hitting the back of the head. No warnings, very weird. Both fighters were doing the exact same thing. He was taking 1 point from one fighter, 1 point from the other fighter later on. It was a weird main event. Didn't love it. Really didn't love it. But Jake Paul lost finally. Do you think this changes anything from his career trajectory and the things that he's been doing in the boxing world?
No. Sorry about that. No, I don't think it changes anything, because it's like, what are we really talking about in his boxing world? Like, you were fighting celebrities and washed up has-beens and old men. And then finally you fought a guy that has some boxing experience, and then he beat you. So, yep, pretty cool. So yeah. I don't know. Okay, so I saw the highlights, right? I was out, saw the highlights. The thing I'll say is that at least Tommy Fury looked great when he was throwing his combinations, and he had some good slips, like as Paul was coming in. But I'm looking at Jake Paul and I'm going, well, you look still kind of like an amateur boxer. That looks good when you're fighting people that don't know how to box. All right, that's what I see. That's what I'm looking at. And if you're trying to tell me that at some point in time Jake Paul is going to be throwing down with the best of the best in the boxing, no, man, that is never going to happen. That is never going to happen. What he has developed and what he's done very well at is market himself in a way where he does celebrity boxing matches where they throw real punches and they hurt each other. So that's cool. That's cool. And I think that will continue to be a thing. And he's going to be able to continue to generate a lot of money for himself and a lot of money for former fighters, especially like possible mixed martial arts guys or old boxers or just old people whatsoever. No, and there's another thing I will say, but he ain't stupid. He's never going to fight somebody like Mike Tyson, who could be 88, and he's never going to do that because that's dumb. All right, but him taking on Tommy Fury, you know what? It's a gamble. If I lose, he probably even thought to himself, if I lose, I'm going to lose close, which he did. He almost won the fight. So, and how is it that I do want to ask you a question? How is it that Tommy Fury looks like he came out of a GQ magazine, and then there's Tyson Fury? So what happened there? Like, what happened? I don't get that. No, I don't understand.
Different moms. They got different moms. So yeah, maybe that's what happened. Their dad looks like Tyson.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks exactly like Tyson, and is a former boxer. That whole family boxed, but yeah, Tommy seemed to get the looks, and he's famous for being a YouTuber. He was on this show Love Island, and I think he's probably better suited for that type of way of getting famous and rich, because he didn't look that good. I did see him throw a few combinations that landed. He was good at sticking and moving a bit, but yeah, this was a fight of two amateur looking guys for sure. Boxing is not something that you can fake. It really isn't. You can't fake it. It's just something that is such a tough discipline, so hard to look good at if you're not good. And these guys really didn't look very good.
No, they didn't. They didn't. They looked exactly what I expected them to look like, which is not good. So, like, if you want to spend your money on that kind of stuff, cool, go ahead. It's awesome. But that's not boxing to me, or that's not boxing to true boxing fans, true boxing aficionados. That's not boxing. Like real boxing match coming up probably, I believe, April. Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. I think it's in April 22nd. So you want to see some real boxing? Watch that fight. There you go. That's something that's gonna spark your pleasure for sure. But like I said, there's a place for everything, and Jake Paul's managed to create this niche of boxing that is, people like and people want to see it and stuff like that. And he fought a very pretty boy, very nice looking man, and he got beat.
Did he make a big mistake fighting Fury? Should he have just stuck to celebrities and washed up MMA guys and did that for a little while longer? Was this a big mistake? Is this going to diminish his earning capacity in his career boxing?
I don't think so. I honestly don't. I don't think it's going to affect his earning capacity whatsoever, because it's just like, this is what you should expect from him. This is it. And then the fact that he even did fight somebody with some sort of boxing like experience and history, oh, good for him. Like he challenged himself. That's great. Because for myself, I'm thinking to myself, well, how long can he go on like this for? Like how long before people are just like, all right, well, I'm jumping off because he hasn't actually fought anybody. And so now that he has, maybe he just goes back to doing the stuff before, still making like a bunch of money, and then people tune in anyway. So. Yeah.
There was two R words that I thought of after retire or rematch. Do you think we see either one of those?
I don't think we're going to see him retire. I think that's off the board. Rematch, possibly, but do you want to see that again?
I don't.
Do you want to see that again? I know I'm good. Like I'm good. Let's see something else. See something new. So I don't think
he had a rematch clause if he lost. He had a rematch clause. He said it in the ring after. So did Fury. I think there's a good chance they do. There's a lot of talk about him fighting KSI. There's a lot of talk about him fighting Nate Diaz. Others out there. We'll see what comes together. The fight that was the co-main event had Badu Jack fighting Ilunga Makubu. And that was a hell of a great fight. That was actually a really legit fight for a title. Badu got his third division championship and got the knockout in the 12th round. That was a legitimate, great boxing fight, and I was very happy that I watched it.
Okay. Now I'm sad that I didn't watch that. I'm sad that I missed that because I like Badu Jack. That guy's a great boxer. Great boxer. And it's fantastic to hear that he won yet another title in a different weight division. So yeah,
weight division, yeah.
That's incredible. That's awesome. And then the fact that he did it in the 12th round, that's exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a hotly contested fight. So yes, that's the kind of boxing that I'm talking about. That's the kind of boxing worth my time.
Yeah, no, there was legitimate fights on the card, and I just wish that maybe those guys were a bit more experienced, maybe could have fought maybe a year or two from now where they actually seem like legitimate boxers. Do you know how much these guys made for this fight though?
Do you want me to guess?
Yeah, take a guess.
First off, it's going to be way too much for what we just saw, what we experienced. How about this? I'll say $5 million apiece, both.
Good guess for Fury. He got 4, and Paul got $30 million for that.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Right on. Come on. Like what are we paying you for? Like, are you serious? 30 million?
30 million.
Okay, well, he's doing something right. He's smart. He's a smart man for putting on something that you just go, wow, see that in my regional circuit. Awesome. Cool stuff.
Well, this is in Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia has been very famous for recently doing what they call sport washing. They're trying to throw a ton of money at all sports, and they're trying to really say how great of a country they are, how great of a people they are. Come to Saudi Arabia, we're the best, we're the greatest. Look at what we do. And they're just throwing ridiculous amounts of money at golfers, at tennis players, at F1 car racing, which is starting this week. All of this money is just coming out of Saudi Arabia. I think they paid a lot of people to be there. There was Mike Tyson was there. Cristiano Ronaldo was there. Kevin Hart was there. They had a whole bunch of celebrities in the crowd. I think they paid them just to come and say, hey, Saudi Arabia is great. Come. Everybody that attended the event said it was one of the favorite events they've ever been to in their life.
Well, of course, because they got pampered. Can you imagine if you're Kevin Hart, it's like, who is this? Some Saudi prince. Okay. What do you want me to do? How much money you want to give me? Wait, are you going to give me a private jet? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll be there. What date? Done. Yeah, so yes, for celebrities, it's pretty easy to do because it's just like they paid me to be there. They paid for everything. They put me up in an 18-star hotel. All right, cool. And then they took me out to the greatest parties ever. Awesome. Yeah, it's a super simple thing to do. And especially if that's clearly what they're trying to do, even though Saudi Arabia as a country has some distinct problems. But we know this. They got money. Man, do they got money. They got money to burn. They got enough money that they can just throw away $30 million on Jake Paul and be like, there you go. There you go.
I think we're going to see a huge amount of world title fights out of there. I think it's going to be the place to go. And I think Francis Ngannou is probably going to fight out of there. Deontay Wilder was there too. I should have mentioned. Yeah. So I could see Wilder, Ngannou from Saudi Arabia, both of them making $50 million.
Yeah, that's right. Because I know that Deontay was there, and he was actually even dressed up in the Arab garb. Because I saw it off Tyson Fury's Instagram where he yelled out "Bomb Squad" to Deontay, and then Deontay's like, hey. So, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. That's hilarious. Wow.
Yeah. So
that's really witty and very smart of Fury to put that out there. That's hilarious.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome. And obviously Tyson's going to be there because he's supporting his younger brother. But yeah, it's smart on the Saudis' part to do this kind of stuff. To be like, all right, well, if you want to make, you want to have your sport put in the spotlight, and we can do that because, we have more money than gods, not one god, gods.
A whole bunch of gods. Yeah. Yeah.
We
I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I think we're going to see a ton of fights from there. And we're going to see this. I think Jake Paul's been good for boxing. I think he's been good for combat fighters around the world. A lot of these guys are finally being able to be paid what they should be paid, getting outrageous amounts of money, getting more exposure for boxing, where boxing in North America was losing a lot of luster to the UFC and mixed martial arts. And I think Jake Paul's been good for boxing.
I think he's been good for combat sports, especially shining that also not really light on the UFC and about their fighter pay. And it's not appreciated light, where Dana's like, I wish that guy would shut up. No, he's not going to shut up because it's like these guys are criminally underpaid. It's like, as he said before, how can I pay former champs more money than they've ever made? And it's a celebrity boxing match. How am I doing that? Think about that, though, literally for a second. How is he able to generate something where this guy is past his prime, somewhat washed up, but he makes more money with him in 8 rounds than he's ever made in any fight in his UFC career? I think that's sad. That's sad. And guess what? Ngannou didn't want to have happen to him in his career, which is that where he just goes, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to step away from you guys and make my money fighting Deontay Wilder. Hopefully, he fights 2 of those guys. That's my hope for him. Hopefully, he's able to win or lose, fight Deontay Wilder, and maybe fight Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or somebody else like that nature. He's able to do that and make himself a ton of money off of the 2 fights. And those 2 fights would be super significant because that will solidify everything. That will solidify his future and his family's future, which is what everybody wants at the end of the day.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope you're right. Yeah, let's get him paid, and then he can come back to the UFC and just fight for fun. Doesn't have to fight for money anymore, and
Exactly.
just fights for a legacy. So yeah, get $100 million out of 2 fights, and then come back and become the heavyweight champion again, and have a really long legacy.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the dream. And then, but unfortunately, I guess Uncle Dana says only one man is allowed to do that. One man, and your name is not Conor McGregor. So no. And is that always going to be his thing? Is that what he's going to say to everybody else that has that opportunity in front of him? Because as far as I'm concerned, if you have that opportunity and you can make that a reality, you'd be an idiot to give that up. You'd be a complete moron to give that
up. Dana White's Contender Series has been just a absolute godsend for the sport. We're just seeing so many guys on this past weekend's card came from the Dana White Contender Series, and it's been great supplying them with a healthy new set of talent. The Ultimate Fighter is back. Conor McGregor and McDonald. Why am I saying McDonald?
Chandler.
Pardon me?
Chandler.
And they just had their first 3 fights of the season this past weekend, and Dana White seems super excited. I think there's going to be probably more eyeballs on this with Conor McGregor being there, Chandler being one of those most exciting fighters we've seen in years. And I think this Ultimate Fighter could be bringing back some of the cachet that it has over the years. And it was pretty neat to hear that they're in full swing with it already.
Yeah, they both have big personalities, but here's the one thing that is going to be the best thing about their upcoming fight. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight because that dude throws caution to the wind and he makes it freaking exciting. Win or lose, he always gives himself a chance to win. When I say that, I'm talking about Chandler. He gives himself a chance to win, and he's going to come close, or he's going to lose the fight, or he may get even knocked out. But either way, that's going to be one heck of a fight. He hasn't had one fight that's disappointed yet. He hasn't had one. I don't think he knows how to do that. So I'm looking forward to the fight.
Very good matchmaking, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the trash talking between them, and I'm looking forward to the lead up. It's going to be fun to watch, and hopefully they start airing it really soon. So great week ahead, obviously, with UFC 285. Amazing basketball going down the stretch. We've got F1 starting, so your cousin must be starting to do some podcasts. They're starting in Bahrain. That's going to be pretty awesome. And I'm super looking forward to a great week ahead. Hopefully the snow stops and we can get to some spring weather soon.
Yes. Because I'm done. I'm done with like the cold weather. I'm super done with that. And I am looking forward to definitely the pay-per-view this weekend. And I'm looking forward to just seeing Jon Jones back in the octagon. We've missed him. He's been away for far too long. And hopefully now he stays for a prolonged period of time fighting. That's what I'd love to see.
Last week I talked about how great the XFL was in their first week, and they didn't air one game. Not one game was shown on television this weekend, so never got a chance to see any. Heard one of the games. St. Louis had a really big comeback that first week. I guess they had a really big comeback again this second week, but how can they already not be on TV in their second week? Like, what the hell is going on? That's a really big miss, in my opinion.
Nah, their network deal is just super awesome, I guess. Like, it's just that good. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because if you're trying to ask me if I was expecting more than that, I kind of wasn't. So I'm kind of not surprised. Like it's disappointing. It's too bad, because, as you were saying, like the games were actually exciting and they were cool to watch. So hopefully for the third week, they may be on TV. Maybe, fingers crossed.
I heard that Paxton Lynch, former player for the Denver Broncos, got benched in his second week of action. Got benched last week, got benched this week. He was, I think, 1-3 or 1-4 in his NFL career. Flamed out really quick with Denver. Boom, they kicked him out. He was third stringer in the CFL this past season, and giving him chance in XFL, not going well already. Looks like he was one of the biggest busts in football history.
Yeah, because if you flame out in the XFL, that's not a good look, because you're not good. You're not good. Really not good.
Yeah, really, tough. Really tough. Yeah, that's something you do not want to see on your resume.
No, that's something you can't have on your resume, because if somebody sees that, it goes, "Oh, flamed out the XFL." You can't work for us. I'm sorry, you can't play for us.
Yeah, that could be killer for any job in the whole world. You got to try to just erase everybody's memories, keep it off the resume.
Well, yeah, and then also too, like, even if you're picking for flag football, it's like, I'm not. That guy's going to be picked last. You know that,
right? Yeah. It's getting trouble with some poor Paxton Lynch. Not going well.
No, not going well at all. At all.
All right, man. Well, this was fun as always. Great podcast. I really appreciate it. Have a great week ahead. Keep in touch, and obviously we'll be texting a bit on the weekend, seeing this card come together. Man, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it, and we shall keep in touch over the course of this week.
Okay,
have a good one.
Cheers. You too. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. As always, appreciate your support, and want to thank our partners and sponsors. As always, Anchor.fm, the easiest place to make a podcast. Phenomenal at posting on multiple podcast platforms for us. If you want to do this, don't go anywhere else. Anchor.fm. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. And of course, the V350 stick is a must-have for any hockey player in your midst. Pampas and Possibilities, designers of really great West Coast things for your home. Get them to come in and spruce up your place and make it look fantastic. And obviously, last but not least, Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. You can purchase products on our website, CompleteSportsMedia.com, at discounted rates. So thank you for your support, and I appreciate you sticking in. Look forward to talking to you very soon. Hope you're not having to deal with much snow out there in your midst, and spring's very soon upon us. So love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon. Bye for now.